Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our match reaction show. It's finished. Bayern Munich 1, Manchester City 2. A nice little preseason win for Manchester City. They made hard work of it. To be honest, it was a very boring game. And I think that's because City are a boring team. But ultimately, they got the job done. And the reason why they're boring, I think, is because they're a possession team that are playing transition football. At least for the second half, that's what they were doing. And it just wasn't a very easy watch. I've been very clear about this. I don't like watching City play. I don't think they're that beautiful of a team. They're not. But they get the job done, and that's what they are. They're efficient, they're effective, and that's what it was today. They got the job done. But it's preseason. At the end of the day, it's preseason. It's not about the results. We talk about the performances. We've been saying that consistently. And if you're a City fan and you're looking for if you're looking to get excited, there's a lot to get excited about. If you're looking for some pragmatism, what could help you understand is the fact that this is a Bayern team that only just got into Tokyo, doesn't have the same fitness levels that probably Manchester City do at the moment. So therefore, take that result with a pinch of salt, and you kind of move from there. But we'll talk about teams, and I think the goals. I mean, one thing is if all three goals were pretty much like tap-ins or close range shots. I mean, the McAtee goal was a tap-in. It was a good move. But ultimately, it was a bit of sloppy defending. I do feel that the Bayern defense. I would have liked to see Kimmich play today. I don't know why he didn't start. Probably because he's not fit enough, and that's fair. But I would have liked to see him play in this game because I think he would have been provided some sort of challenge, at least for Haaland. Haaland versus Kimmich would have been a nice little battle to watch. We didn't get that. But you can see why Bayern have wanted to bring in Kimmich, because neither Pavard nor Upamecano really bring that confidence to that defense, and that's how the first goal came for McAtee. The equalizer from Bayern was a little bit. I mean, the commentators were saying it's completely against the run of play. I don't think it was against the run of play because Bayern were actually dominating possession. I don't know the stats, but from what I was looking at, I thought Bayern were the team that had more possession. City were more than happy to play transition football. They were trying to counter. They were pressing high and trying to play transition football. They weren't actually trying to hold on to possession until towards the end of the game. But that move was smooth, unlike most of the other Bayern attacks, which kept breaking down. And you can see why Bayern want to bring in a Harry Kane on a striker, because they need someone. They need someone who can hold the ball up and who can really bring everyone else into play. They don't have that, and they need that. But that move was slick. The goal that Bayern scored was slick. I don't know who the left back was. Like, there's so many changes. I don't know who it was. I tried to figure out the name, but he was very good throughout the game. He puts a nice cross in. It should have been scored first time, but Ederson, I think, makes a bit of a mess of it. And it allows Matistel to score. Matistel is a fantastic player, by the way. I don't think he's ready yet to lead the line for Bayern, but I think he could be a star. If he can keep this progression up, I think he could be a star in the coming years to come. Coming years for Bayern Munich. But one to watch out, one to watch for, of course. And after that, it was Bayern really couldn't hold on. I think after that goal, again, sometimes this happens where teams expend so much energy in just equalizing that they forget that there's a game to be played after that. They suddenly all of a sudden, and I think Bayern, that happened to Bayern. They put so much energy into trying to equalize. After that, they just kind of went flat. All of a sudden, there was a chance for Laporte before the goal, which he should have scored with the header, but it was a good save from Ulrich. But then the goal that did come right after that, another corner. It was well worked, actually. And Foden puts the shot in. It gets a bit lucky because Ulrich makes the save, but then it falls right back to Foden. I'm not sure if Foden is trying to pass it to Laporte or if he's trying to score there. I'm going to give him the benefit of that and say that he's trying to pass it to Laporte, but it almost feels like he was trying to take a rebound shot and he got that horribly wrong. But I think I'll give him the benefit of that and say he was trying to pass it to Laporte, and then Laporte finishes it very nice. So that was a good finish, by the way. The second finish was a really good finish from Laporte. It was very well worked, very well taken. A player who might not be at the club at the end of this summer, but if he stays, he's still a class player, and it's 2-1. I think overall, what I will say is that there is, of course, some concern about Manchester City's transfer activity this summer. But what I will say is they don't need to worry about that at all, because City is still such a good side. What they are is they are very effective. There's a reason why Manchester City don't use that many players, because they don't play a very expansive, fast, high energy game. They're very efficient in what they do, and and that's the reason why Guardiola doesn't make many substitutions, because the way that City plays is very, very conservative and very, very energy conserving. And and they work hard in the moments that they need to work hard, but really their whole game is based on controlling their opposition and controlling the tempo, so they don't have to go too hard. So from that perspective, it makes it boring to watch for someone like me, because I'm not a City fan. I don't And so for me, I don't get it, but I'm sure that as a City fan, you would have probably enjoyed watching this game. If you are a City fan, you would have enjoyed watching this game because that's the way City play. That's that, shows the control that City often have. But that being said, the performances, I think Rico Lewis's performance obviously stood out. I think there was a lot of good talk about him. He's someone who I think still needs to find a role. Like, is he a left back? Is he a central midfielder? I feel like he should be a central midfielder. The problem is these days, there's this obsession with trying to convert attacking fullbacks into central midfielders. You're seeing that with Trent Alexander-Arnold. We saw that with John Stones, who's not really a fullback, but he's been converted into a central midfielder. So there is that obsession of trying to convert defenders into midfielders, and I think Rico Lewis might be the next one to have that sort of transition. But he looked good. He looked really good when he played. I do feel he's better in midfield than at left back anyway. I think he's looked better when he plays in midfield. So he's definitely there. Kovacic was excellent as well. Someone who's very press resistant, of course, and can carry the ball. So he's someone who I think will fit into Pep Guardiola's system very well. And then, of course, some other good performances. I mean, Ederson probably was a bit sloppy on the goal, could have done better. I thought Haaland looked okay. What I'm interested to see with Haaland is that the fact that in these sort of big games, and this is against a big team, it's not a big game, but against big teams, he often doesn't score goals. If you think about it, he didn't score in the Champions League semi-finals, he didn't score in the Champions League final, he didn't score in the FA Cup final, now he's not scoring in Spain. I feel big teams are starting to figure out what Haaland is all about and how they can stop him. It doesn't mean they can stop City, because City still have so many other avenues to score, and if you try to mark Haaland out of the game, it means that somewhere else, someone else will get an opportunity to score, which is what happened with the second goal. But what it does show is that maybe Haaland needs to add more to his game, and maybe he is doing that already. But from a goal scoring perspective, maybe he needs to add more to his more strings to his bow to make sure that he can still hit the numbers that he did last season. But I mean, that's really about Manchester City. Like I said, it was a very efficient performance. It's very hard to grade these kind of games for Manchester City because everybody almost seems to be on the same 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 level. And so it's very difficult to figure out who's really stood out. And sometimes you don't get players who stand out. But I thought, yes, a few players did stand out, but some others didn't. From Bayern's perspective, I think Mane was a big disappointment. I've got to say, I was very disappointed with Sadio Mane and you can see why Bayern want to get rid of him. You can see it because he doesn't fit in that team at all. I mean, he's playing on the left wing. And every time he kept cutting inside, for one, most of his runs were not being found, which may not be his fault. But then when he got the ball, he was always trying to do too much. It's almost like he was trying to send a message to Bayern and to everybody that, look, I'm this great player that you're getting rid of, that you're going to be sorry to get rid of. And he just kind of, every time he did that, he just kind of vindicated Bayern's decision to let him go. So I was very disappointed with his performance, and he didn't look good. And maybe it's pre-season. It's the first game, after a long, flight from Munich to Tokyo. And, you obviously fitness is not the same level, but I'm still disappointed with his performance. I liked the left back performance. I don't know his name. He played on that left-hand side in the second half. He was really good. I liked him. I liked the way they played. I thought the whole Bayern defense, aside from the 2 goals, were generally very good. The way Bayern plays very high risk. So you're always going to run the risk of having these issues in set pieces and losing the ball in key areas. But I thought, for the most part, from open play, Manchester City were not as dominant as they should have been. Again, considering the quality of players that they had, you had Foden, you had Bernardo Silva, you had Haaland on the pitch, and they didn't score. When 3 of them on pitch, they didn't score. So obviously, Bayern were doing something right. And so I like that. Laimer, of course, played very well as a midfield destroyer. Hopefully, he can have a big season for Bayern Munich. He looked good. And maybe that will help Kimmich as well, because Kimmich needs someone next to him who's probably more of a destroyer rather than Goretzka. Goretzka was anonymous when he came on. I didn't even know he was playing until I saw the team sheet. So he wasn't that good either. And then the Sane wasn't that good either. And I thought, and again, the game, as I said before, highlighted the why Bayern need a striker. They need to buy a striker. There's a reason why they're interested in Colomwani and Kane. But Matt Estelle, I think, could be a good backup. I don't think Gnabry is a striker. I think they play him there because there's nobody else. But I don't think he's a striker. So I mean, overall, I think it'll be interesting to see how Bayern look when Kimmich comes into the side. When maybe Neuer comes back into the side, maybe that will be more of interest. I think it's a little bit too hard to predict what Bayern would look like while they're missing those players. Manchester City, I mean, Calvin Phillips. I forgot to mention Calvin Phillips. Nobody must have known he played, because he played, but he was pretty poor in this one as well. And that was one thing that I did want to mention. Cam Phillips not that good, and they'll hope that Nathan Ake's injury is not too bad. Maybe not too bad, but they'll hope that isn't going to be a significant issue, because I think he's a key player for how they play as well, because he's a centre back who plays a left back, so he's got that mobility, and they need that. But of course, Akanji is a good replacement anyway. City have so many options in defense; it doesn't matter. They could lose 2 players and still do okay. But anyway, yeah. So that's it. Manchester City pick up the win in preseason with a decent performance, I would say. An effective performance, an efficient performance. But do share your thoughts. What do you think of the game? If you're a City fan, you can let me know how wrong I am and everything that I've said. More than happy to hear your thoughts, of course. And do smash like on this video if you enjoyed it. Do subscribe to our channel on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There's more games today, so we'll be covering those as well, hopefully. So stay tuned and subscribe so you can go notified as they drop. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.